I will die for you. I miss that.
Right.
I will die for you. I will throw my life down. I will lay on a grenade for you.
Right.
How many people get to work in an environment where that's the case?
Once again, thank you guys for being here. My name is Max Bush. I'm your host today on the Hero's Journey podcast, brought to you all by Sharp Performance. Really excited about our guest today. He's a close, dear friend of mine, someone who I leaned on during some of my hardest times when I was making a transition out of the Navy into the civilian world. Someone who I ran a non-for-profit with and just have been able to have a wonderful relationship with a coach, mentor, someone who I could lean on. So Guy McDermott, thank you so much for being here. I would love to start off by you just telling us a little bit about you.
Let's see. I waved tops, served in the Navy for 24 years, majority of that time as a SEAL. Served in Iraq and Afghanistan, Mustang officer as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say the Mustang part.
What's a Mustang?
So prior enlisted, and then in the SEAL community, and then went officer ranks.
The best kind of officer.
Right. Well, it can be the best and the worst sometimes. Depends on where you get stuck.
Right.
But so I did that for 16 of the 24 years, retired in 2013, became a firefighter paramedic for 6 years, and I lost my way. I had a significant, and I'll go through that story probably in this, but a significant fight with mental health that forced me to retire early, and had a very powerful experience of coming back from that. Mm-hmm. And, in that process of starting a nonprofit with you and continuing to do peer support, I continued to grow and elevate my consciousness. And that led me to be eventually a coach with Sharp Performance. And I help others as a peer to navigate transition. I think the hardest thing for us to do as warriors is to lose that identity.
Right.
And in that process, I lost myself, what I thought was myself.
So talk to me about kind of where it began, like Guy McDermott as a kid leading up to the point of leaving for the Navy, choosing to leave that place and moving into the warrior class. What's that look like for you?
Yeah, I think at first I need to identify, right, some of what I had to go through to before I even joined the Navy, right, as that formative years. And there's no, where I am in this storytelling is it's not something that I'm a victim to anymore. It's I tell from a different lens.
Right.
I say it and express it with love because I've gotten complete with it.
Sure.
But I held a lot of resentment, right, for what I had to deal with as a kid. And I don't need to get into the story. Everyone has their own story of what happened to them, right, whether it be emotional, physical, or even sometimes sexual, right, that we all have to go through to forge us, right?
Sure. This
process of really, getting complete with that. But I say with all my heart, I love my dad. I love my mom. Thank you. Thank you for giving me life.
Right.
Right. And thank you for everything that did happen to me. Right. But, the truth be told, I put my armor on when I was a little boy.
Right.
When I was 5 years old, I put that armor on because my house wasn't safe. Mm-hmm. And it was in my face, right? It was like the safest place in the world should have been my house, and it wasn't. Mm-hmm. I learned not to feel.
Sure.
I learned to cover up feelings. I learned to this hurts. Oh, I'm being abandoned. Whatever. I'm going to bury that.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on. I'm going to survive. Which really, now I'm thankful because we all know, like you and I are both SEALs, or we're SEALs, is that if I felt would I have made it through Buds, Hell Week. Because the minute you feel what, you're feeling sorry for yourself.
Sure.
So, everything was for me in a sense to be able to, right, get to that place of warfare, right, to serve with the brothers that I got to serve with. So, oh my God, what a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Right. And so without all of that happening for me, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And, to be able to say, hey, listen, I want to take another human life, or I'm okay with it.
Sure.
Right. That's the level of okay, we need people that aren't feeling. And I think there's a place for that. I think we have cancer out in this world and we have to, right. Someone's got to step up against that.
Yeah.
Right. And if we're going to, but I always say, it's if we're going to ask our men and women to do that in that capacity, right, what are we going to do to give them their lives back?
Sure.
To really feel, because I don't think we're here not to feel. I think we're here to feel.
Right.
So in my formative years, right? You know, I again, I don't have to tell the big story. It doesn't matter, right? But I'm on the other side of it where I can see the value of why I had to go through that to get to where I am today, to right now.
Right.
And the thankfulness and the love that I have, right, for my parents while they still aren't here on this planet.
Mm-hmm. It's a profound shift that a lot of us have to make, and one that we're asking a lot of the people who we're helping to make, going from something happening to you and shifting into the mindset that something has happened for you, right? And then being able to take those experiences that lead you to the next thing. And the next thing for you was, you know, this professional career. You're leaving on your hero's journey at this point, right? You've had all of these experiences that have shaped who you are, the young man who's going to go beyond and go on this adventure for the Navy. Tell me about your experience in the Navy just in general, but also as a leader, right? You were in a real leadership role midway and probably at the end of your career as well. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, right. So left the house 18, you know, joined the Navy, and I really didn't know, quite frankly, what I wanted to do in the Navy. My dad would continue to be like, join the Navy, join the Navy, join. I was like, I'm saying, like, you know, like, no, stop, right?
Yeah.
And then the minute he stopped, when I had the agency, right, to do it, I went to the recruiting office. So
Sure.
I didn't want to, not that I didn't want to include him, I just didn't. I wanted to do this on my own.
Right.
I wanted it to be my idea. And so I went to the recruiter office just blind, right? I had no idea. And I had to take the ASVAB. I think I got a 76 on it, which was below the threshold of being a nuke, right? And had I been above that threshold, I would have probably done the nuke, which would have been a horrible idea probably,
Right.
but nothing against those nuke guys, but there's a lot of submarine time involved in that. So anyways, it was high enough to, I mean, he was going through the jobs like, you want to be an AE? And I'm like, electrician? You know, and then he's like, oh, how about air traffic control? And in my mind, like, I was like, oh, air traffic control. I just watched, I'm 55.
Yeah.
So Top Gun was when I was 16.
Yeah.
So I thought it was those guys on the carrier deck and, you know, letting Tom Cruise go.
The song goes off in your head.
Yeah, right. I'm hearing it, right? I'm hearing it right there. I'm like, oh, that's me. And I was tricked and played. It was the guy in that tower, right? The radar room. So I ended up becoming an air traffic controller for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I had met a SEAL that for the first SEAL that I had ever met in my life, and one of the spouses that I worked with. And I just remember thinking, like, I want whatever he has, I want.
Yeah.
There was something. I was like, whatever energy he was holding at the time, I was like, I want to be that.
Sure.
We sat around. I was going to get out of the Navy. I had my own startup, you know, business, taking people on outdoor adventures, and
right.
And I was already jumping out of airplanes. I was already diving. I was just a thrill seeker, right? Which is part of my problem, but that's okay. Like that's the drug of choice for me was adrenaline. So he had something I wanted, and I was already doing these things. I was already, you know, a thrill seeker. And so he was like, we sat around a campfire on one of my trips, and he's like, hey, you'd make a good team guy. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And that day forward, right, I set my sights on something bigger than myself, right? To be one of him. Yeah. And everyone doubted me. You know, I'm not a big guy, right? I was 5'8" at the time. I think I'm 5'7" right now. It's my spinal cord, but yeah, everyone doubted. Like they're like, there's no way. The detailer, when I got released from the detailer, he's like, I don't know why I'm going to release you. I've released the last 6 guys, and they're always coming back, wanting their job back. What makes you different? And I was like, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm made of.
Right.
I was already forged, you see.
Yeah.
And so I went through BUD/S, and it was by no means easy. Right? You know, you were there. You understand, right? You know, I said my Hell Week was probably harder than your Hell Week. Isn't that what we always say, right? You know, it was like it was snowing, we had bigger waves. I don't know, right? But it's tough, right? Yeah. And I it was winter, but I started Hell Week with pneumonia. I was spitting up the neon green sputum,
right? And
I was seeing people, report back, this means you have pneumonia. I'm like, okay, really? And I'm not going to go to medical,
right?
I got this.
Right.
So then at that moment to really lay it down and say, you can do this. You can do whatever you say, you whatever it is that you want to achieve, you can do.
Sure.
So I think we have to have again, we were talking about a lived experience with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really integrate that until later on in life.
Sure.
I was like, I don't know how I did that. I had 3 fractured ribs too. Right. I was able to push through that because why? I'm not feeling.
Were there specific mentors or, kind of landmarks throughout the way? You're going through this training process. Were there other people or specific ideas from your past that were kind of pushing you in that direction? Like what was the big motivation? What was the big fire?
I think when you're in it, you don't see it. But I always had an eye for what I knew what I didn't want to be when it came to being a leader. I was kind of shown both sides.
Right.
In the SEAL teams. I think not all officers are meant to lead. And what does it mean to lead? What does it mean to be a leader? And I jokingly said, it's like, no, the people that worked under me, I work for you. Right. And so we, I took a different approach, but I did that because I saw what it was like the other way.
Yeah.
Right. From a leader that really wasn't doing it for anything other than, I don't know, like it was confusing. Or why are you here?
Sure.
You see it.
What was your favorite part about the job? Like when you look back, like what do you still take with you? What do you love about it?
Growing up, I didn't have the essence of a family, right? I think the brotherhood that we create out of that through the trials and tribulations, I think really like what makes SEALs what we are is Hell Week. We go through something together so difficult that it bonds us, right? And there is a bit of trauma that we're bonded to, but
right.
This bond that we have, like I will die for you. I miss that.
Right.
I will die for you. I will throw my life down. I will lay on a grenade for you.
Right.
How many people get to work in an environment where that's the case? I miss that, brother.
Right. It's a beautiful thing. And,
right. But at the same time, right? Because it's more, I'm not knocking what it is what it is.
Right.
But at the same time, when you step out the door, you're forgotten about it.
Sure.
Right. How much of that is happening?
Right. It's got to be it's very personal. It's very much for you and you can kind of get lost in that as well.
Yeah.
And then you took that, right? You took that same mentality, that same spirit, and then you wanted to continue to serve.
Yeah.
Like in between having experiences being an officer in the SEAL team, both positive and negative, and moving into like, where are you at mentally? Where are you at physically at this point to where you're like, now I need to become a firefighter. I'm going to leave this career and I'm going to start another occupation and service.
I think in my blood is service, right? I know that it's in my blood right now. I mean, like I'm having a 30,000 foot view of it. And I didn't really have it then. But I just kind of knew. I was like, what's next? I would have stayed in, but the next step for me, I was at Buds as a phase officer.
Mm-hmm.
So the next step for me would have been going back into a platoon, leading a platoon, which is going to be another, obviously, workup cycle, right? And I needed to be home.
Right.
It was time for me to be home. I was done being away. You don't see your kids grow up, right? And I lost a lot of time with them, right? And I lost a lot of years. And I think part of it is like, some of their struggle, and it happened for them, right? I know that as well. But part of their struggle is not having a dad.
Sure.
Because I really was there, but not there.
Yeah.
I needed to come back. But I didn't really know that at the same time, right? I instinctively, I know I need to be home, but I never was shown that as a kid.
Sure.
See, that's the chain of dysfunction. I wasn't shown that. I wasn't shown community. I was bounced around over and over again as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I never stayed in the same place.
So what was that? Where was your mind at the point of transition, and like why firefighting? Like why was that the next thing?
I just felt that, what a perfect blend.
Right.
You know, I get to, I mean, ideally, if I got to do it in Encinitas versus all the way up in Glendale, I live in Encinitas, right? It'd be nice to have a job right down the street, but you take the first one that comes to you. And I just, the idea of being able to serve in that capacity, like almost reversing, like I'm now stepping into people's houses, right? With a paramedic box versus a weapon. I'm here to save your life, not take your life.
Right.
Maybe there was a component of that.
Yeah.
You know, that it's like, oh, wow, like I can make a real difference in someone's life.
Sure. Trying to win that part of yourself back.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, talk about the hero's journey. I maybe, you know, I didn't know, right? But I knew there was some redemption even before. I'm still spiraling down.
Sure.
At this point, right? I'm still on my downward arc.
But you don't know it.
I don't know it. I'm unconscious of it. Well, that's part of the problem.
Right.
I'm not even aware it's happening. It's happening, and I'm reactive. You know, every vet that you know, especially veterans, but all warriors, right?
Sure.
But the veterans that served overseas, especially, it's like, you know, or even signed up, it's like the idea of a warrior is that you're willing to lay down your life for someone else. And in this case, we're laying down our lives for each other. But the bigger picture is that we're doing it for the freedoms that we have, the ability to do what we do.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever it is that you choose to do, you have to be free. And like we've been to several countries where we know what it's like not to be free.
Yeah.
But I say, like, you've done all that for our country, but are you free yourself?
Yeah. So talk to me about your time as a firefighter. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Like what did that career look like for you? Where'd you work? What was your rank?
Yeah. So started off as a firefighter. I went to an academy, a fire academy at college here locally.
How old were you?
43.
You went through academy at 43.
Right, with a bunch of younglings, 20-year-olds, right?
That's great.
Like, here's this Papa Seal, right? You know, it's like they call me, it's like this old guy. But yeah, so I was a bit older. So I went through that just to add to the resume. Yeah. And then I started paramedic school. But it was, you know, oddly enough, like I wasn't supposed to be a paramedic. I fought, you know, like things that you're not supposed to be. Usually there's a lot of resistance. Yeah. And there was a lot of resistance to that. So I started that process. And then when I got hired with Glendale up in LA, which is just northeast of LA, I made it through their process and then had to go through their academy. And there's a lot of prestige. You know, you're a Glendale firefighter, and you know, we throw wooden ladders and it's heavy. And it's like, I remember one day, you know, going through, I'm 43, 44, going through their academy, and they were putting the ringers to me. And I'm like, oh, let's make a Navy SEAL break. Yeah. Right. Whatever. Yeah. You can physically destroy me because I'm older than some of you guys that is leading this. So fuck yourselves. Yeah. Right? You're trying to break me. Right. But, you know, that's the subconscious mindset. Like, so let's bring it. So that our academy probably had a little bit harder, right? Yeah. Because of me. Good. And they're going to probably listen to this and be like, yeah, I see that now. Thanks, asshole. Sorry. You know, anyway, I remember throwing wooden ladders over and over again, and my back seized on me. Oh, no. And what do? I just kept on going until I nearly passed out. Yeah. like I'm not going to let them, I'm not going to show them, right? I can there's nothing that I can't do, right? Until my body just completely fails. And that's what we do. That's the name of the game. Right. You go until you can't go. And that's what makes us what makes us. Yeah. Right. And that could be to a fault too. And we probably go down that arc right later on, but that's the nature of who we are. Right. So I was successful, made it, you know, I went and got a shot of Toradol. I said, hey, listen, I know what I need. This has happened overseas. Give me the good stuff. Give me the good stuff. I need the Toradol, and I know where I need it, you know, and so I got the shot of Toradol and was able to get back on into the academy the next day. Right. After that, you know, it's probation for a year. Right. You know, and they put me, like, they definitely, my first firehouse, they stuck it to me. And it's like, where do you find that balance of being like, dude, who do you think you are? Versus, okay, I'll play your game. Like, I want to be in their club. Right, of course. Right. So, you know, it's like I look back and be like, oh my gosh, wow. I was bending the knee a lot just to be in the club. Right. Right? And I think it's, what we do is we put that hat on. But, it's like, is that healthy too? It's like, yeah, right? And I have a different lens on it now, right? So, but I also have a lens of a little bit of appreciation too.
Right.
So I see both sides of it.
Sure. Anything that you have to earn your way into, you're going to walk away with a deeper appreciation for that thing, good, bad, the ugly, just like in the teams, right? There's good new guy stuff and there's bad new guy stuff. But at the end of the day, you're proud that you got through it, right? And how long were you in as a firefighter?
I did it for 6 years. So I went, I immediately got sent to paramedic school. So I wasn't a paramedic, right?
Yeah.
When I got hired, they were hiring EMTs, but they were shifting to an all paramedic department.
Right.
So now I'm faced with going to paramedic school. So I went to UCLA paramedic school. I had to live between there and my house in Encinitas to pull it off. But again, paramedic school, right? I'm like, there's so much resistance, but I'm going to kick the door and let's go.
Yeah.
But it never was me, right? I wasn't supposed to be a paramedic, but it was part of what I had to go through to get me where I am here today. And I'm grateful that I went through the training, but it was tough.
Right.
And then, so from there, you go to a probationary paramedic house, which means, hey, you're at a busy station.
Right.
And you're with a senior medic and you're running calls over and over again. So it was crazy busy, right? So it was great for me. I needed to be busy. I needed it. But then simply, hey, this guy's 46 now, right? Let's send him to a slower station, right? And I was like, thankful, yes, please. I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'll just be a little more quiet. So now it's a mix between not 20 calls a day, but it's 6, 7, right?
Right.
In a good neighborhood. But my paramedic skills, right, that I'm already resisting, I felt were going down.
Right.
Because I'm not running as many calls. And I'm still kind of a new medic, because only after a year.
Sure.
So that said, now I have anxiety. For the first time in my life. I'm in a slower house, right? Things are slowing down a little bit. I'm getting tired. All this pushing through, everything that I did to get there, I'm starting to get exhausted.
Right. It's starting to catch up with
It's
you.
starting to catch up to me. I say that, the wheels are starting to get a little bit loose. And I say this stories because it's important, because, a lot of people Sharp Performance work with, maybe in this situation.
Right.
Like, they're starting to experience anxiety. But listen, who are we going to go to? Who am I going to go to in my department to express that?
Sure.
We had a peer support, and I'm not knocking but I'm not going to be, listen, I've been trained to cover all this up all my life, really, right? But like top secret clearance, you're going to go to the psych and say you're struggling mentally?
Sure.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Right? We're just going to process, deal, bury it until you can't bury it anymore and the bucket gets too full.
All those experiences that led up to this point, right? It's the compartmentalization that happens at a young age, not wanting to expose weakness. Then it's attaching yourself to a warrior tribe of people who, again, it's frowned upon. And now you're serving your community, you're serving your public full of a bunch of people who are revering you as this battle-hardened individual. So you have even more stigma that you have to live up to at that point. Did people ever lean on you for any sort of mentorship as a firefighter?
Yeah, I was already seeing a little bit of that, right? But nothing formalized. I mean, we had a peer support program, right? And it looked like a popularity contest of who got to become his, right when it first came on board, right? I'm sure that it's much better. I'm sure it's much better, right?
Right.
I think we're a little bit more aware,
it is,
now than we were then, right? So I did, and I was a firefighter paramedic, but their captains would come to me and we'd talk, and we'd have higher conversations. So I was already kind of engaging in like a peer support, and I was already realizing things were happening. But again, I'm trauma bonded with them,
right?
Just like I was in the SEAL teams. And again, here I am, Max. I'll die for you.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not going to tell you that I'm filled with shame.
Sure.
I'm going to withhold that from you. Because you need me to be something different. You need me to be strong.
Sure. And
I need you to be strong. So there isn't really even space for this.
Right.
Maybe in those moments.
Was there a breaking point for you? Like you obviously stopped at 6 years. You're now 46, 7?
I don't know. I aged myself. Yeah, I started when I was...
You're 47 years old.
Oh, almost 50, 49 this time.
Geez.
Yeah.
So you're,
Oh, geez. What? Oh, geez. oh, geez. Yes.
you should have been the chief.
I know, right? Yeah. I was older than the chief, right?
Yeah.
So I my anxiety's getting more. Right around that same time, I lost a really good friend that I grew up in the SEAL teams to suicide. And I won't mention his name. It's not important, but it hit me. Like, it hit me hard. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
How could this guy, dude, SEAL Team 6? Like, he was a warrior's warrior. I mean, I looked up to him. I was like, and we were bonded.
Sure.
Yeah, we grew, we went through SQT together, or SQT at the time, STT. So we were bonded, right? And then when he took his own life, I was shattered. Yeah, and I was resentful for him.
Was he in, or was he out of service?
He was he just was asked to step away from SEAL Team 6, right? Talk about abandonment.
Right.
He was dealing with probably substance issues. I want to go, the names I didn't, but he was dealing with substance issues because he was covering up all the shame.
Right.
Right. And no one, saw it. And he went back to Texas. Talk about slowing down. Now he's not part of the organization that he identified with. He's a recruiter or whatever. Right. And he's dealing with TBI and PTS.
Mm-hmm.
It was too much.
And was that what pushed you? Was that like the final straw, you feel?
Yeah,
like,
I think it made me more isolated, right? I was drinking more at the time.
Right.
So I had all these things. Now I'm kind of depressed. If is depression's a state of mind, I was in a state of depression, right? And I'm not coming forward with any of this. I'm still trying to process. I'm still trying to deal with it. I'm trying to do it by myself. It's not working. Mm. So fast forward, right? October of 2019, I was on a critical call. Be mindful, and it's a paramedic call. It's breaking me, right?
Right.
I was on a critical call where a 14-year-old boy was struck by a drunk driver at 40 miles an hour. Mm. And I'm looking at this lifeless child in these police officers' arms, and I froze. I'm feeling all the emotion it almost brings me to a state of emotion right now of the mother and the screaming brother right next to him, 12-year-old, right, that's witnessing this. I'm feeling all that energy, and I just can't hold it. Right? And be mindful. As a paramedic, and any of the paramedics are listening to this, be like, dude, those are the easiest calls to run. All that child needs is a backboard and an ambulance. Strip him down, start an IV. Blunt force trauma, whether it be to the head, or to the body, whatever it is, right? He just needs a trauma center, and he needs it now. And I froze. I could not help this kid. Thank God I wasn't touching patient, but I should have handed the iPad to the captain. Hey, captain, you got the hard job. I get to help my buddy out. Right. We're going to get this kid in that ambulance even faster. So everyone stepped two except me. And I just held the iPad. And I went home after that with an immense amount of shame. And there was a very good captain on that night. And he asked everyone, he did this job. Hey, is everyone okay? That was a pretty tough call. Yep, Cap, I got it. But I didn't.
Right.
I went home with an immense amount of shame. Panic attack after panic attack. I went off on back injury not soon after that.
Right.
I could not function anymore. I was losing my body and I was losing my mind. And it got to the point where I wanted to end my own life in it. And I look like we all have to hit our bottom. And here I am. I'm at my bottom. I'm on my knees. So now I have to have choice. And I think there was a glimmer of hope, right? And I had a very powerful experience during that moment where my brother, who took his own life, saved mine. Mm. It's like he came into that room. Do you get it now? I didn't see it. I didn't see it until I was in it. We're so blind to the fact that a lot of us are struggling with this, and we're just covering it up because we just want to be seen. We want to be loved. Right. And there's love here, don't get me wrong, but it's not healing me.
Sure. Was the moment, or was there a person, was there a mentor where you went from, I'm spiraling, suicidal ideation, kind of feeling like I'm down on my knees. I don't really know what to do. Like, was there a point at which that shifted for you with a person, a process, a place? Like, what was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that moment, right, like pulled me the other way. I was like, this is not happening. And around that same time, I got signed up for a nonprofit that was a suicide prevention program.
Right.
That I got to a higher understanding of why I was feeling, like why all of it happened, and I got complete with a lot of things in that process. That and call it a pseudo initiation. I mean, we're not really initiated as boys into it being a man,
right?
We think of we think of going to boot camp as an initiation. No, it's an indoctrination into something.
Sure.
So I think going through the process of getting complete with all that allowed me to then start the upward journey, right? And realizing, well, like what I want is to be free. I don't want to be unconscious. I don't want to be reactive when something happens in front of me, especially with my spouse or my kids. I don't want to yell, or I don't want to get angry, right? I want something different. And going through that process initially then springboarded me into let's figure out a way of helping our warriors come home in this, right? The more I raised my awareness and consciousness of it, the more I wanted, and the more free I got, the more I wanted to give that back to someone behind me. Because the only way for me to keep on going up is that we got to do this together.
Sure.
So that was us, right? That was us reaching out for each other and saying, "Hey, brother, I love you.
Yeah,
I got you." And maybe one of us is coming in closed and the other one's coming in open. But now this, right? This openness that we can achieve for each other. Now we have a safe space finally.
Right.
We have that safe space to be open and vulnerable. Because I'm not going to, you can tell me anything.
Sure.
I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to probably give you a me too. Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah. Well, what were some of the specific things, like, I mean, I obviously know what some of your things are because you've taught them to me, but how and where did you pick up meditation and breath work and mindfulness? Like, what were some of the places you went to, the actual, where you actually found this stuff helping you and you're like, oh my God, I can do this on my own.
Right.
The same coaching that you do for all of our customers. Yeah. Who did that for you, and how did you come to some of these? Talk to us about your process. Like, what is your wellness process like?
I think it's multifaceted. I think there's so many different things. I just became open to the possibility that maybe this can help. Maybe this can help, right? So meditation was taught at that program, right? And
what was the program?
Save a Warrior.
Okay, Save a Warrior.
So that program taught me meditation. They call it warrior meditation.
Yeah.
And the idea is to kind of an introductory to meditation. And through that experience of one going through Save a Warrior, I remember being there and we're in a room together, we're meditating, and like, okay, I'll give this a shot, right? Whatever, I'm open. Let's go, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
And I remember sitting in the room and there was this little mini refrigerator, and I was like, I'm finally there. I'm like, oh, this feels good. I'm feeling so relaxed right in my head. I'm like, refrigerator goes off, and I remember being like mad at the refrigerator. I'm like, like I was right there, right? Mad at the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So, but I believe whoa, I felt something different in that space.
Right.
So I just grabbed it. I just kept on going. And so I read books, I listened to podcasts, I just started going down the spiritual route of it too. Where does meditate, where did it come from? Like, what's the reason why? And, and kind of formulated my own, around the morning meditation when I work with guys with Sharp, I tell them, it's like, hey, the way I got through it, and it may be different for you, but the way I got through was through awareness. And how do I become more aware? Well, I have to create space between my thoughts.
Right.
I have to get to that space between thoughts, because I'm thinking. Who's the thinking? It's the story that I went through that's thinking, or a projection of what I want in my future.
Right.
Right. But now what am I doing is I'm projecting a reality that isn't real anymore.
Sure.
It's a projection of my thoughts. And having that understanding of wait a minute, how do I get past that? Well, I have to reduce the thought enough to see reality.
Right.
So as I was seeing reality a little bit more and more, I was like, oh, it was blowing my mind. I mean, I got way too far on the other side of it sometimes, right? Without being grounded.
Sure.
But when you start really seeing reality through a different lens, right? You start to get a little bit more free from all that old story.
Yeah.
And that's the integration. Every day I have to do some type of restorative practice to keep this freedom. It's not like I can hit an easy bum and do psychedelics down in Mexico and come back and be like, oh, I'm good.
Sure.
No, all the things that you created around you aren't good. And they're going to wear on you just like they did to get you down to do the psychedelics.
Sure.
So I have to change my state of mind. So meditation as a practice, right? As a restorative practice is really being the observer of the thinking mind, which is the story that I'm going through.
Right. Yeah. Joe Dispenza talks about that a lot, right? He's a famous meditation facilitator and talks about not living in the memories of the past. If all you're doing is anchoring your current life in the experiences that you've had and the memories of the past, then your body will be that thing. Your mind will be that thing. If you can project what you want, if you can project it the way that you want yourself to feel, you can actually trick your nervous system and your body to just simply becoming that thing by living in that future self, right?
Yeah, a projected self. Like the idea of declaring yourself something else. I had to declare myself on the hero's journey. I had to declare myself something else to then spiral up. Right. Every step, right? Every step is the work, right? So, but I have to give myself space because I was believing in the story. So to get free of that, right? And I think you even go through, like, once you start to become free of it, you start to get space, then things are showing up a little bit differently. They're almost tougher, right? Because you're ready. You're ready to deal with the next thing. All the energy you put down in this, right? Whatever, and however you displayed yourself in this lifetime is going to come back to you at some point.
Right.
You have to deal with it. You have to feel it. You got to process it. But you can't go to the top until you start dealing with the small stuff.
Sure.
So that space gets you, right? So I leaned on that. I learned that in Save a Warrior. I'm really grateful for learning that. And then I just went off and just started learning as much things that would help me be more aware, more conscious.
Okay.
And in that process of helping others, right, by going back down and reaching out and saying, brother, I see you. I love you. I got you. Right. It's allowing us together, right, to elevate ourselves.
We're kind of reaching the point of the hero's journey where you're coming back, right?
Yeah.
It's like I've had all of these experiences. I've had mentors. I've reached my lowest points. Now I've gained all of these different healing modalities, getting to know myself, and now I'm returning back to the communities where I came from to do the same. And that was the point at which me and you met. I was remodeling a VFW in Solana Beach, and Guy popped in, and we hit it off. And one thing that I want to identify as something that's really, really important about coaching, is important for peer support folks, is it's a relentless game, right? I was a very difficult person to reach, and Guy was relentless in keeping me accountable to myself. If I didn't answer the phone, you'd call me every day for 10 days straight. If I didn't show up, you were always going to do what it took because you understood what I was going through, because you had been there for yourself. And I think a big part of what coaching is it's being able to hold yourself accountable because you're doing the work as a coach.
Right.
And that's seen by the people who you're coaching. They say, okay, this guy's showing up for himself. He's doing the work.
Right.
And you've been relentless about that. And I'm truly thankful. The work you put into me saved my life, and the people who you introduced me to so I could continue on my own path was incredibly helpful to me. So talk to me about this continued mission. You're a coach for Sharp Performance now, and you're showing up for tons of different people, from fire to law enforcement to civilian support staff. What do you come with as a coach? Like, what is your mission? What are you doing for these people?
Yeah. Well, I want to first hit on something for you. It wasn't me that saved your life. It was you that saved your life. So if you what you didn't notice, but behind it all, is I allowed you space for you to come to me.
Sure.
Right? Because who has to make the decision?
Right.
Right. So, that kind of goes into what I do as a coach, right? The word coach, right? I mean, everyone, the beauty about Sharp Performance, there's so many different style of coaching and
Right.
things that we can coach, right? And mine is more on the ideas of restorative practices, but I go a little bit deeper in a sense of providing a space and holding a space with love for people that I don't really know.
Sure.
And building a trust that, hey, listen, brother, you can tell me whatever it is that you need to tell me. I got you.
Right.
I got you. Right. And there's, again, going back to everything that happened for me. Right. And, it was for me to be able to hold that space for other men, right. To be free themselves, to be open. Right. Because there's something about the safety in that. Right. So as a style of coaching, it's like really holding a space, sacred space, I'd say, right. Without saying it, for them to heal if they need it. Not everyone needs to heal either. It's like, some people are good, right? Some of the people that I get on a call with are like, I'm good.
Right.
And some people aren't.
If you could define the majority of the conversations that you, right? So every different coach has a profile on the application. The profile lists out things about them, strengths, weaknesses, past lived experiences, credentialing, stuff like that. What are a lot of your conversations and what are you seeing, right?
Yeah.
What are people coming to you for and where you're able to help?
Yeah, I think I always lead it off with them as like, you're in charge of this call.
Right.
Right. And you point me where listen, you want to talk about leadership? I can talk leadership. Right. I was a leader, right? I led, in the SEAL teams, you're a leader right when you finish BUDS, in my opinion.
Sure.
You're always leading someone, right? So I can talk that, right? And at the same time, if you want to go a different direction, let's go a different direction, right? But I have to really sit and hold a space to listen, to figure out where they want to go. So I really open it up to them, and every conversation is very unique, but it is always hinged on, well, what are you going to declare yourself to be? Where do you want to go? How do you want to transition out? I work with a lot of chiefs, whether it be law enforcement or first responders, that are getting ready to retire. They're going to lose their identity. Instead of sitting on a radio and listening to the calls go on, go on to the second half of life.
Right.
Like in this community, you get to retire in your 50s.
Do you think the Chiefs pick you because of your gray hair?
Probably. Probably, right? You're like, oh, he's salty. He's salty, right? Yeah, probably, right? Like I'm older, right? I give them the opportunity to say, listen, this isn't about me. This is about you.
Yeah.
You take the call where you want to take it. And quite frankly, if it's not working, right? And I don't chase them down, right?
Right.
Like if I'm providing value to them and they're gonna come when they need it.
Right.
Right. And I'm no one's savior. I didn't save you. You saved yourself. You just had the space to do it. You see the difference?
Right.
Because that's the hero's journey. It's like I'm coming on the other side of the threshold and sharing wisdom and knowledge and holding space. That's it. And then guess what? In order for you to instill that wisdom, knowledge, and everything that was passed down to you from me, you got to give it to someone else.
Sure. What about some of your favorite things that you could recommend? Are there something that the listeners could go look at themselves? Is there a list of books or a particular meditation or something that you've accessed that has made a profound difference for Guy McDermott in the past 7 years? Is there something that you continue to go back to that? I mean,
I think different books hit us differently. I could read the same book 3 different times in 3 different stages of my life and get something different out of it.
Give us one.
David Hawkins had this book called Letting Go.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever followed him. More of a spiritual, Western, Eastern. Alan Watts is another one. Eastern meets Western, right? Just profound. These certain things were hitting me. I'm like, it was as though David Hawkins wrote that book for me.
Right.
And I'm reading it like, did he know my whole journey? And I'm reading it, I couldn't put it down. And that's how much it hit me, right? But again, I can make that recommendation and then you can read it and be like, what was he high? What was he on?
No, I like it.
You know what I mean? But there's different books but I would say, anyone, really, like, there's a lot of charlatans. I don't know if that's the right word, but there's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, we're the age of information where we have it all.
Right.
Podcasts, everything else. Like, if it feels authentic to you, like when you listen to it, feel the authenticity of it. Like right now, I'm not talking from my brain. I'm talking more from my heart.
Sure.
That's why I got lost. I'm like, why am I talking about this? Right. I'm talking from my heart.
Yeah.
And I think that some of these people, right, that are talking from their hearts and they're writing these books, like David Hawkins, Alan Watts, Wayne Dyer, I just open myself up, right, that I don't really know anything.
Sure.
What do I really know? The minute I say, no, I know, well, then what's not possible? Everything else. So I try to go in this state of not knowing enough to open myself up that anything and everything, there's a possibility, but I also had to have discernment on what felt right. But that required me to, right, surround myself with people that were of good nature, that were loving and caring and nurturing.
Give us something that everybody can do. Give us a bit of coaching wisdom on, because for me, what's very important is the way that I start my day. I used to start my day in a total brain fog, which created a ton of angst and anger.
Yeah.
I would always be rushing, right? It's like I had purposely set my day up to put me in a negative mental headspace as I went to approach, these high risk or high stress environments. Like, what's something that people can do right now, the next day when they wake up, to start the day out positive, something that you've seen or you've recommended for other folks?
I have a routine, right? I get up a half hour earlier than anyone else in the house, right? For a reason.
Right.
No, an hour. And I have a full routine that I do, right? Of meditation, journaling, reflection, right?
How long? Can you walk us through the actual process?
The meditations, I now will set a timer for 30, but if it only goes 20, it only goes 20, but I drop into a deep meditation. I have a form of prayer that I do along with, right after that. Okay. So that helps me bring in certain energies for me to be at a higher vibration. I don't do caffeine. It seems like I'm on crack right now, but
this is just Guy.
It's just me. He's like, man, how much coffee do you have? It's like a Monster? No, I don't drink any of that. I don't need it anymore. It's life. It's life force. No, it's literally a life force, right? That we can obtain. So I call that in. I want, want to be aware that, hey, everything is energy.
Right.
And I want to call that energy in.
Sure.
So why not? I'm open to the possibility, right? So anyway, so that's part of the routine. And then I journal. I was really, really resistant. I stopped journaling actually recently, and I need to pick it back up.
Yeah.
But I journal of gratitude. What am I grateful for?
Sure.
Well, if I start my day off like writing 2, 3, 4 things down that I'm grateful for, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it. What am I grateful for?
Yeah.
And then I reflect, like, what triggered me yesterday? Who took away a little bit of my freedom, right? I want to become free. What part of me wasn't free yesterday? And then why? Why does that still have me? Anything that has me emotionally, again, we need to come up with a 12-step program that's helping people become emotionally sober.
Right.
Anything that ties you down emotionally, triggers you, that brings up this emotion,
it's stealing from you.
It's stealing from you.
It's just totally robbing.
It's robbing you.
Yeah.
Right. So like, no, like what? Like, okay. So then doing that work, right? Like every day, every single day, that's the ritual, right? Write it down, reflect. And then what do I declare? What do I want to declare myself today? How do I want to show up today that's a little bit better than yesterday? See, I can't go right to the top.
Right.
Like, I got to realize I'm a human being, and then people are going to trigger me. I mean, the asshole in Home Depot, whatever, I'm not triggered by him anymore.
Sure.
Before I was. I'd want, we'd get pulled in like magnets, get pulled into each other. And now we're almost wanting to fight. For what reason?
Your
how did I get here?
Matching, right? It's polarizing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then here we are. It's like, no. Like, that isn't about that. But then it was like, things that my coworker or friend or spouse, right? The ones that know us the best know the buttons. So do I just say, hey, stop pushing my buttons? Or do I say, you know what? I'm just going to take the buttons away because I have the power. If I'm not a victim to them.
Sure.
Right. So I have to have a relationship with that. And I have to journal. I have to write it down. So writing it down helps.
Something you said to me, I've kept for it's been years now. And you told me that I was allowing everybody else to take the energy that I needed for myself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That I was giving it away to any person who wanted to start an altercation or some negative conversation that was to be had. And if I could learn to visualize that as like I'm pouring out the cup for what I need for myself later in the day, because taking care of yourself takes energy. Having good positive thoughts about what you're going to accomplish. Maybe it's a business idea or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I've really carried that with me. So to wrap this whole thing up, leave everybody with a little bit of Guy McDermott wisdom. Like what can we do, right? What something that we can think about and reflect on, and maybe go act on ourselves leaving this podcast. What comes to mind?
You're a human, and you're doing the best you can. And you're always like, listen, the more I move along this, as I'm climbing my peak,
right?
And doing the nonprofit stuff and helping men, I'm a human. I'm doing the best I can, right? And I have to have self-forgiveness. I have to forgive all of it for myself, right? I have to get complete with it. Whatever thing happened for me. I have to get complete with it.
Right.
I have to. And there's still probably some things that are lingering on. I ask every day, right, to show me what it is. Because I'm doing the best I can. And I think knowing that, it's like, listen, I'm no better than anyone else. I'm just trying to become more aware. So we do this together, right? We do this as peers, right? And it's really like Project Restore Hope, the nonprofit. It's the idea really is warriors bringing other warriors home.
Right.
The only people that are going to bring us home in this capacity. And again, warriors is more than just the veteran that served overseas. It's our first responders. And in my opinion, our first line nurses and ER docs are warriors, right? And guess what? There's a lot of civilians out there that have said, I didn't serve overseas, but I serve you, right? As in the community, right? We can bring each other home. So if you're feeling like at all, like hopeless, there's hope.
Reach out.
Like extend the hand out. You have to extend the hand out. And it's the hardest thing that we'll ever do in our lives is to surrender. You can only do your job to the best of ability of where you are mentally and emotionally. Like what a gift to be a first responder, whether it be police or fire, to be able to hold that amount of love for someone else. You're going into people's houses and giving them care.
Right.
In their time of need, right? We need to be at our best. So if you're struggling, it's okay. I'm sure the guy next to you is struggling just as much. And it's okay to get help.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's beautiful. I really appreciate talking with you here today, Guy. Thank you so much for the coaching that you provide our customers. Thank you for the mentorship that you've provided me. Truly, you are a wonderful part of my journey and continue to be. For everybody listening, take what Guy says and act on it, right? Take one small step in a different direction today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for the next week. Wake up tomorrow and give yourself 30 minutes of meditation. Do some journaling. Live it as if you're feeling, that moment of gratitude, right? Thinking about the moment your kids were born or the moment that you got the badge put on your chest, and try to relive that moment. Be grateful for what we have. And I hope each of you chooses to reach out. I'd love to pair you with the coach, and maybe even Guy McDermott, but that's the Hero's Journey podcast today. We'll tune in next week. Thanks, guys.